You're listening to Behind the Bulldogs, brought to you by Ferris State Athletics.
Off the left side, to the end zone! Touchdown, Bulldogs!
If I'm even having like a bad day on the course or something, I just look down at it and just feel like thankful that I'm able to be out there.
Making sure that we're like where our feet are and we're not thinking about outside distractions.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into another exciting edition of Behind the Bulldogs. Brandon Worth, Tatum Outlaw, bringing you the good stuff, as always, here in Ferris State Athletics. Thanks for following us, whether you're following us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as well as on the old YouTube, wherever you're finding us. Hey, we appreciate you tuning in, and as well over the radio waves, WBRN. Tatum, got a great show up ahead. Talking some tennis, getting the rackets involved, men's side, couple guys stopping by with Alessandro and Felipe. Very excited for their conversation.
Yeah, I always love having the tennis people on. I feel like they always bring some good energy in here, and the tennis team has they're very unique and they're a really close-knit group, so I'm just excited to hear more about that, what the rest of their season's looking like, because things are getting intense, so I'm just really excited.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting, and they're always an energetic group that nobody gets to have that energy vibe off from, since, you know, they're a couple, 100 feet down the road at the racket complex 90% of the time, so great to have a conversation. We'll get to that, but first, Ferris State Sports Recap. What happened this week in sports? Overall, golf did some good things over this past weekend, finishing in 7th and 9th for men's and women's. Really good overall performance from Coach Stark's team. They're going to be back in action soon. Tennis got a sweep over Lake State, and especially for Lake State, I actually just read the other day that they're not going to be continuing their tennis program. So this is a very, very motivated season for them. But tennis, able to get the job done on the road against a really good team. Or no, I should say they actually were here at home. Either way, able to take care of Lake State and start that conference slate that they've been very successful at the last couple of years.
Well, I guess we can say we got the last word with Lake State.
Oh, man, yeah, that's true.
We'll never play them again. Yeah. I mean, we got the final win, so that's cool to see us pull through with that. And I'm sure they are very motivated with it being like their last season there.
Absolutely. Maybe they'll come back in a couple of years, right? Maybe it's just a break. We'll have to wait and see. But you never know in the world of sports. Yeah. Speaking of sports as well, softball was in action. Wayne State got the split there in Detroit. Not able to play against Saginaw Valley due to Mother Nature, as always in April, wreaking havoc. Of course. Heard rumors of an ice storm. We won't talk about that any further. But yeah, anyway, just look at your local meteorologist. But got swept yesterday against Davenport. We're in those games in the driver's seat going into the last couple of innings, just not able to close it out. Panthers just did a better job of getting the offense hot late, be able to take the lead and hold off at home. But this team does have a lot of promise, and they are especially going to be hungry for their home games this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, softball's looking good. Obviously, it's going to be up and down. It always is with sports, but they're looking pretty good this year, so I have faith in them for their next couple games coming up.
Absolutely. The offense is definitely there. They can get the defense and pitching it there, get the runs down for the other team. Man, they're going to be a fun team to watch. We'll see how that goes this weekend. We will let you know when they are playing later on at the end of the show, so be sure to stick around for that. Football's back. Everybody loves football here at Ferris State.
Feels like they just finished.
I know, right? Just a couple months ago. Now they're already back. Spring practice is underway. Spring game, is going to be a thought down the road. We'll get you more details on that. But their national championship parade's coming up, folks. Downtown over on Michigan Avenue. It's going to be April 12th, I believe. April 12th. So mark that down on your calendar. But spring football is back. Get to see all the guys in pads again, being able to see them do some great work and prepare for a defending championship run here this year.
Yeah, I'm excited to see some younger talent and what they've got. And I always love the spring game. It's a great atmosphere. And I think you guys should all come out and get outside if it's warm and go see them at the parade.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's a lot of festivities as well outside of the football. At halftime, I know volleyball, you guys have been involved, women's basketball.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of competitive spirits when it comes to field goal kicking contests and all that fun stuff. So, I mean, it's competition within the competition within the competition. I mean, that's a triple exponent right there. So if you want competition, you got it times 3.
Well, and we're coming back for vengeance this year because why did we let men's basketball beat us in a volleyball game? It was close.
Yeah.
But we're not messing around this year. We're coming ready to play and we will be practicing. So come to the spring game and stay for halftime. Come on, let's watch the real game here.
Please do. Yeah. And men's basketball, the message has been sent. So ball's in your court now. literally. So we'll see how that goes. Finally, before we get to the interview, I want to give a shout out to Stunt, one of our newest sports here at Ferris State. They just made an announcement. They will be joining the GLVC conference coming up for this next year as they will be beginning that season for Coach Harris and that new program. Hey, we wish you the best of luck in the GLVC, a little bit small conference, right? Stunt is still a developing sport at the Division II level, right? The GLIAC does not have Stunt overall as a sponsored sport. That is why we moved to the GLVC. But very exciting stuff. We're going to see them compete and hopefully compete very well right out of the gate in a good competitive conference in Stunt.
Regardless of what the sport is, I think it's cool that we're doing all we can to expand our athletics. I mean, and we're adding new additions to the school as well, like the new dorm building. So I think it's just cool that we're doing all we can to give opportunities to everyone, especially like a new female sport coming in. I guess it could be for anyone. It's majority female, but it's just cool to see what we can do. And just thanks to everyone who can make it happen.
Yeah, I believe it's 10-8 the split right now, 10 women's sports, 8 men's sports. But at the end of the day, nobody cares. It's 18 successful Ferris State sports. So that's all that matters at the end of the day. Also, before we get to the interview, I miss the trees. I know the dorm's going up, those trees that are out facing the road that are over by the practice facility there for a top Tiger field on the turf. I miss those trees.
I noticed something looked different when I was driving by, and I was like, I know there's some dirt there, like they started digging, but I was like, why does it look like the field is so open?
Yeah, because they just went and knocked down every single tree. And
more paper.
There's more paper, I guess. So printers over at Flight are going to be well stocked for the next. You'll drive over there. For me, track and field practice starts there at the track, so you run by those trees. It's weird how many times you can see all of these facilities over and over, and then something gets knocked down, something gets torn down, something new comes up, and you're like, wow, change is really happening here.
We're not strangers of construction because we've seen this whole building change. So
that's true. I mean, that ceiling tile is different up there. Well, not the other stained one, but the other one. Anyway, let's get to the interview. Alessandro as well as Felipe are standing by, and we'll get them in for an interview on men's tennis.
Let's do it.
Thanks for having us. It's good to be here. Super excited.
Absolutely. And we have some excitement, of course, brewing for Friday. Grand Valley's coming in town. You guys have obviously played some good tennis so far, beat Lake State recently. How are the vibes going into this match? I know it's anchor bone and the rivalry juices are definitely flying high right now.
Go ahead.
Honestly, I feel very excited. I feel like these are the type of matches that we play the whole season thinking on those, I feel that, we can be very confident on our team, especially because we got a top 10 win in Florida recently against Embry-Riddle, which was honestly very, very good. And it wasn't even as tight in the score as, usually those teams we should play very, very close.
Right.
And we still got a pretty good win, a 5-2 win. Was very impressive and very encouraging for us. So I feel that, as a whole, we showed already that we can perform. So, I mean, playing at home, playing in a court that we practice every single day, I feel that it also gives us an advantage. And
Yeah, I think it's, it's his first year here at Ferris, even though he's competed a couple years. But I think a lot of the new guys, I'm just trying to get them just tuned in on what it's going to be like, the rivalry of this match, like Grand Valley, they come in just especially, I think it's the third year in regular season that we play them at home for some reason. I don't know how that's worked, but which maybe is an advantage for us. But it doesn't really matter to them. I feel like they just come in screaming and just super loud. So just trying to get the guys ready for that. And I think rivalry or not, I think it's just a great match. It's just super fun. We always just bring high level of tennis. And I think like he mentioned with the top 10 win we had in Florida, I think really just gives us no doubt that we can perform at the highest level on D2 tennis. So I think we're never going to put anyone past us, and I think gives us confidence to just beat anybody really that comes against us, whether it's GLIAC or regionally or nationally. So it's going to be a great match. Kind of weird. We're starting in the morning. Usually home matches guys play in the afternoon, but going to get some good rest tonight and be ready to battle tomorrow morning. It's going to be good.
For sure.
give us the insight on what your game prep looks like, whether that starts the night before or the morning. Do you guys have any like rituals, any songs you like to listen to, food you like to eat, just anything that you do to prepare for a game, especially a big one like tomorrow?
Yeah, for me personally, I find it's more just like more of a mental state. I don't really keep track of like specific things that I'm necessarily doing or consuming food wise, but I think like I've been trying to say to the guys, it kind of just starts just during the week, even like the first practice on Monday, once we get out of the weekend, it's just trying to keep good attitude and good body language, whether you're having a good day or not, just trying to make the best of those practices. Just because, you don't want those little slip ups, especially in the week of a big match. But I find, just most important is, in all sports, but especially when we're out there for a couple hours, just hydrating, make sure even indoors, outdoors, I've seen people cramp. So just keeping your salt intake pretty good and just stuff like that. And also, I think just making sure you're getting good rest is pretty important. But those three things are probably the most on my mind, is just sleep, water, and just hydration. Yeah,
for sure. Felipe, how about you?
I feel that this semester has been teaching me a lot of how sleep is important, honestly, because I'm a junior now and the finance classes are starting to get harder, and then
sure,
as a student athlete you don't really have that much time, and then you have to do well in the exams because you're a student before an athlete, but still I honestly like to get there early, and just I usually like a lot of like a happy vibe song. It doesn't really like hype, but honestly like reggaeton, I've been listening a lot to it. Actually, these last 2 weeks, I've been listening a lot to French music. I don't know. Some French. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. And before we get into the court, usually like we're waiting on the girls, and I've been liking a lot that we've been playing a little bit of like soccer, we've been
doing that.
Just
keeps it light and fun. Just for notice, we are the two like music guys on the team. We're always the ones that are running the music before in the van in general. So, and we give a little bit different vibe, but I think like he mentioned, we have a couple South Americans this year, so that kind of vibe, the reggaeton, I think gives good vibes. But I feel like we don't really go too hype like with the rap. I feel like we you don't want to get too hyped up. You just want to get in a good mental state, just a calm, excited state, I think.
Nice.
And we also have that, like, we warm up for like almost an hour, so we got a playlist running there too. But I think the soccer that we've been doing just keeps it fun and just keeps you to light-footed right before the match. I think it's good.
Yeah, I honestly like this vibe that we have at least this year, like on before the matches, because I am very tough on myself, like on whenever I'm practicing, like I
sure.
Sometimes you're not having your best day, and I feel that whenever I'm, especially when I was playing in my school before I was at Mississippi, I felt that I was really, really putting too much pressure on myself, and I feel that this year also Coach Mark makes it very enjoyable for me to play on this team, because we all have the expectation. I mean, Ferris is a school that has a lot of tradition in every single sport, and tennis is not different. But I feel that this year I have been able to enjoy tennis in a way that honestly I've never had before.
Awesome.
Just great.
That's amazing. And you mentioned, right, you spent time in Mississippi, but originated from Brazil.
Yeah.
Very unique experience coming here to the States. How does tennis as well as life differ in a short synopsis? I'm sure you could spend a whole hour on this, but in short synopsis, what is the difference that you've seen both on and off the court?
I think the biggest difference for me has been the food, honestly.
Okay.
Like, I feel that here you guys put so much seasonings and like all this kind of stuff, and like I don't know, like back at home we keep it like simple, you know, like salt and pepper and this kind of stuff. Of course, like the weather it's also
Wasn't this the first time you saw snow?
yes.
Oh, nice.
This winter season was the first time I saw snow. I mean, in the south of America, like in the south of in Mississippi, like it doesn't really snow.
Yeah. It doesn't stick. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it was very cool experience, but I guess the weather here is not that doesn't make that much influence because we play a lot of indoor tennis,
right?
You know, and in the south we play a lot of outdoors. So like it would be like 40 degrees, 50 degrees, and it doesn't really matter. We're playing outdoors anyway. So it was actually not fun to play on the cold.
Yeah, for sure. Alessandro, I'll pitch this over your way. We've talked on the podcast before.
Yes, sir.
This is a very unique group when it comes to the tennis team, both men's and women's, different walks of life, everybody coming together to put the bulldog on your chest, especially for you, you know, coming from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
How is it interacting with this team and just seeing all these players come together and playing the same brand under Coach Doran and continue to be successful?
Yeah, I think the coolest thing, especially seeing it from a coach's perspective, and that's somewhere where I probably want to take my career in the next couple years, is just trying to like just put all these different characters and backgrounds into just one pot and just try to melt them together. Because I'm sure, as you guys know, you know, even though we're more of an individual sport when we get on the court than others, I think you really got to work together as a team and just think together as a team, you know. There's no real time for trying to be individual or selfish. So I think I find it cool just, you know, just talking to my teammates and just, especially for me, more on the tennis side, because many people will call me a tennis nerd or geek. I just like, you know, hearing the different experiences from their countries coming up in junior tennis and where they played some of the international ITF tournaments and stuff like that. And it's kind of cool to think about where that's brought them today, and even to the point of how they got recruited and stuff like that. I find I'm really interested in cool things like that. But yeah, I think it's crazy kind of, you know, some of these guys, like they've even like, I mean, yourself, but you were already in college, but like, you know, Jose from Ecuador, like never visited Ferris, never went anywhere probably north of Florida in his young life. So I think it's just crazy just to kind of take a plane and just live in Big Rapids for 8 months. And I think it's just cool to just talk to guys about how they feel and how they enjoy it here.
For sure.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch the course of questions just a little bit, but if you could pick anyone, real person, celebrity, friend, family member, cartoon, whoever, who would your dream doubles partner be?
Oh,
Damn.
The people on Dancing with the Stars did this. They did like their dream partner. So that'd be fun to ask.
I would take Jello. I would take Jello.
No, for real.
You're the legend.
We are playing together now, though. It looks like starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
wow, that's exciting.
Oh,
Breaking news on the pod.
Wow, we've been practicing together all week.
Giving it out
Maybe. I'm assuming I don't make that final decision, but no, you go first for real though. Celebrity or I feel like we're most likely to pick tennis players because that's who we idolized our whole life. But
maybe pick a tennis player and then maybe like a fun
and
someone else.
celebrity or cartoon.
I mean, the tennis player that I would pick would be probably Rafa Nadal. I mean, just my idol. I mean,
Guy's incredible.
Guy's
incredible.
In juniors, I always wore the bandana. You know, like I wanted to be like him. I'm lefty as well, so that's also, you know, like something that, you know, makes me admire him. But I think outside of the tennis world,
Max Verstappen.
Honestly, like I was thinking on somebody.
Okay,
an F1 guy.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a big F1 guy.
Yeah, I love Formula One. I mean, just awesome. Honestly, I actually would probably pick Lewis Hamilton. I mean, like, man, the guy's seven.
I think I've seen him play tennis. I think he's not that bad.
He played with his father. There's a video going around on the internet.
How about that? You probably didn't know that, folks.
There's a video going around, so it must be true.
Yeah, for sure. Have you been introduced, Felipe, to NASCAR yet?
honestly, like I've seen it before, and
you think it's dumb compared to F1.
I don't know. Like I don't really. Yeah.
You can say it. It's okay.
That's literally running in circles. You know, like Formula One is not that much like it, but
yeah, for sure. Okay, back to you, Alessandro. Your dream doubles partner, both tennis and not tennis.
Yeah, I would go for tennis. Right off my head would have to be Roger Federer,
yes.
rival of Rafa. Always was an idol of mine growing up. But I would also pick a double specialist, Daniel Nestor, Canadian guy who won a lot of Grand Slam in doubles.
Okay.
But if I were to go otherwise, I think I'm going to go cartoony, and I got to go either Stewie or Peter Griffin.
All right.
Sure. I don't know why.
Stewie would be an absolute menace.
Have you ever seen that episode of them playing tennis? It's hilarious.
I may have seen a clip or two.
They join a country club, and like Stewie gets them kicked out because he just goes crazy. Like he smashes his racket.
Yeah, pulls a John McEnroe and just snaps it into pieces. Yeah.
I think Peter would just be there for fun.
Yeah, Peter would just be trolling.
He's just good vibes for him.
Right. Exactly.
Stewie would be an absolute menace.
I think I got to pick either like good vibes or just like menace. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of need a little bit of both in tennis.
You do.
Actually, ironically, gets me to my next question. The mentality of tennis is very unique, right? Point by point, right? Set of 4 or 5, could even be up to 8 points, wins a point. That takes 7, sometimes 6, 7 points to win a set. Then you need, obviously, it's a very in tune game, 1 point at a time. And when it comes to the mentality, you know, we talk to golf guys, we've talked to softball players, right? Pitch by pitch. How does that equate to you guys mentality wise, you know, bouncing back point for point if it goes your way? Harnessing that momentum, especially when other guys do that, shouting across from different courts. And how does it when you're, you know, maybe a little bit behind the sticks and losing a couple points in a row?
For sure. It's a great question, a little loaded, but
fair. That's very fair.
But I mean, that's kind of just the mental space of sports but tennis in general. I mean, people talk all the time how it's just so tough mentally. But I think an important thing, and even that I've been learning just every day and throughout my last year here, is just you can't really let what's even happening or what has happened in the match, good or bad, like really affect your confidence that much. I think you want to stay, you know, you always want to go into a match or a situation with as much confidence as you can. And I don't think you want to go far from that, whether it's above it or especially below. And I think because we lose so many points in tennis, like I think, you know, in general, the winner of a match doesn't really win more than like 55% of the points, never over 60. So, you know, you are losing, you know, at least 40% of those points. So I think it's important to not really let that affect your confidence and your mental. But another thing I think is just always being conscious of, you know, your mental state, your thinking. I think something that's becoming more common that Novak Djokovic, I heard talk about, is just conscious breathing. And I think that really controls your thought process. I think if you're not in control of your breath and your breathing, you know, it's hard to kind of be conscious of what's going on and what you're thinking. So I think in between points, but especially in between games, you know, it's not time that you want to take for granted. I think if you're not thinking and processing, then your opponent probably is, and that's probably something you're losing there. But, and like you said, I mean, it can be such a long match. There's just, you know, there's never time to get ahead of yourself. If you win a set, you know, you win whatever it is, 6-2, it could be 6-0. You know, you're not done. Like, you know, you got to win 2 sets, but I think the best way to think about it is that you got to win 12 games, you know, like, you know, because I feel like people, they win 1 set and then they almost like reset to 0-0. But really, you just got to get to 7, 8, and then to get to 12. You know, it's really a continuous match. It's not really like you're stopping at 1 set and then you don't really want to restart. You kind of want to just keep going. But yeah, I'd like to hear his Felipe,
let's get you in on this.
I mean, honestly, I think I hate to look at the score. I am a guy that like I don't count. I barely count the points. You know, like I'm constantly like trying to make sure I kind of know what's the score within the game, because I feel that this takes my focus out of what am I doing and how is the outcome happening, you know? And sometimes, you know, you can be playing great points, but your opponent is just going for broke and they're just getting better out of it. So I feel that, you know, I just try to focus on point by point. I feel that tennis is it doesn't matter how many points you made last game. If the guy made more than you, you're gonna lose it anyways. In a set in tennis, I feel that, you know, you can make less points than your opponent and still win the set. Right. You know, it's not, for example, like volleyball, that if you lose 8 points in a row, then the set is it's very tight to come back. I mean, like in tennis, you can lose 7 points in a row and still come back in the game and be 1-1. Yeah. You know? And I feel that this is a thing that tennis taught me actually for life, is just don't think about what has happened, what is gonna happen. Just focus on what you can do, which is the present, this point, the next point. So honestly, like, I feel that this goes also to what we were talking on off. I think when we were talking about the before the match, how do you approach the day before? And I just try to enjoy the moment. Honestly, I feel like, because I know that I already did the hard work before the match, and I just gotta go one by one, moment by moment. And I know that, you know, if I do everything well,
it's not much you can do the night before that's gonna make a difference in winning or losing. You know, it's kind of I think preparation during the week. But I think you made a great point, and that's something that I think we've been trying to, as we're both the captains on the team, that we've been trying to share, is just enjoying every moment, whether you're winning or losing or feeling great or not. You just got to make the best out of it and just try to have the most fun. Because if you're not trying to have the most fun, you know, you might as well stay at home sometimes, honestly.
Yeah, and I feel this goes hand to hand with, you know, this desire to push every single time. I mean, you know, like it goes like, for example, if you're down in a match and you see that the score is way, you know, it's tough to come back, you gotta be like, okay, let's play point by point. But I feel that one thing that people don't talk too much about it is when you're winning and you have this advantage, you still have to go point by point anyways.
Right.
You know, like,
you can't get ahead of yourself.
Exactly, right? There's so many people that we see on the TV playing whatever the sport that they go and like, oof, every time he gets the advantage, he gets nervous because he knows he's about to win, and then something bad happens. Like I mean, this is not in tennis, this is on everything, you know? So that's why I love this idea of point by point, and, you know, but we're humans. I mean, we always think.
Always going to make mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, we always going to think like, oh, am I going to win? You know? And I feel that this is also a cool thing about college tennis, is that you have other courts playing with you, you know, to win the whole thing. So that was actually one thing that whenever I came to college, I took a little bit of time to understand, because tennis is so individual when you're playing outside of college, then that, you know, like it was actually, I mean, it's funny, I think I shout at every single point when I'm playing here at Ferris, but
which is okay.
Yeah, but before that, I always used to just stay quiet and focus on myself. But I feel that whenever we're in a situation here in college, it doesn't matter the score, you still have to show that you're there, you know? And I feel that, you know, I hope this is a great boost for, you know, whoever's playing around me, you know?
Sure.
So
absolutely. Well, fellas, I feel like we just went through a TED Talk. This is amazing stuff. We got to go real quickly though before our next segment. Before you head out, what is your favorite thing, as short as you can, but as detailed as you can? What's your favorite thing about being here at Ferris State and being a Bulldog?
You go first. You're fresher to the scene.
Honestly, I feel my favorite thing is the sports culture that we have here. I feel that this school has so much history, and honestly, whenever I was, you know, choosing a school to transfer to, I had no idea about how much history Ferris had in general, and
For sure.
and I feel very proud and very, very honored, to be here. I feel like it's an awesome opportunity. So
Yeah.
For sure. Alessandro?
Yeah, similar for me. Like I've probably said before, with the athletics and the school in general, and how much we're just pushing to forward athletics. But I think the last year or two that I've realized is just the community in general. If you go to these sports games, whether it be volleyball, basketball, football, I think the majority of fans, when you don't look at the students, they're just community members that they just care about us and they care about the success. And I think that's something that, really, really hits me at the heart, is when, there's people, they don't know you, or, you have no idea who they are, and they just show up just because, it's Ferris and we have this history of just being successful and just always doing our best. And I think that's something that pushes me the most, is just seeing those community members caring and just showing effort for our success. Yeah, it's really cool.
For sure.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us here on the show, and good luck.
Thank you so
Anchor
much,
down,
guys.
as they say, this
Anchor
weekend.
thank you so
down.
much.
Absolutely.
Let's go for it.
Big thanks to the guys for stopping by, talking some tennis. The mentality of tennis is extraordinary. Point by point, every single point matters. And the momentum, getting to watch some of these guys and gals compete in tennis this past year when we hosted the regional. I mean, it is intense. It's a bottled up energy, especially when it's indoors. I mean, it's an exciting sport to watch, and obviously some great athletes too, with some great stories behind them.
I love watching tennis. It's such a competitive sport, and it takes lots of resilience and mental toughness. I mean, the game can be so long or it can be short, and it's just like knowing like what shots to take at the right time, when to go for your big one, when not to. And I think it was just cool to get more insight on it, because I just love watching tennis.
Absolutely. I've, partaken in pickleball, as many of those. Working on my grunt as we speak right now. The forehand needs some work, but maybe the guys can help me off the air about how to improve, some of the wrist action and stuff like that, because your boy's not doing well with pickleball.
Some lessons.
Yeah, I definitely do. Speaking of the Ferris State Sports Slate, as we mentioned earlier on in the episode, we got it for you. Thursday, our track distance team is going to Wash U in St. Louis.
Whoop, whoop.
I am super jealous. It's a great meet. They're going to have a great time over there for those select individuals. Some will also be going to Illinois for the Redbird Challenge, so good luck to them on Thursday and Friday. As well, on Friday, we got a pretty big tennis match coming up. Grand Valley's in town, folks, so go down to the Racket Center, cheer on the Bulldogs. I believe the start time for men's is 10 a.m. I'm double checking here as we speak, and 2 o'clock for women's. And then softball will also be at home. They will be playing Purdue Northwest at 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock opening pitches over from the South Athletic Softball Complex. As well, Saturday, March 29th, we also have tennis here at home. And then it'll be Davenport's turn, so we'll take on the Panthers. That'll be 10 a.m. for men's, and then 2 p.m. for women's, the start times there. And then on Sunday, to wrap it all up, we got some home softball against Saginaw Valley State, 12 o'clock, against Grand Valley. I read it wrong. 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock against Grand Valley. Women's tennis will play Saginaw Valley. So apologies there for the correction, but that's the good stuff. And then we also have golf will be in action at the Findianapolis. What a great name. Findianapolis Invitational there in Lacona, Indiana. So good luck to them Monday and Tuesday. And we'll see Coach Stark's team out there on the links once again. It's official, Tatum. We could say it. Spring sports, full spring ahead. We got every single spring sport now in action here at Ferris State.
It's so fun. I almost said like go watch tennis and be loud, but they're not really loud during the rallies, but
it gets
get loud after.
It gets really loud and then quiet in just anticipation, watching it, going back and forth. You got to go to a chiropractor after watching it. It's really intense.
Yeah,
but it's fun.
Tennis for 1 year, me and a lot of my volleyball teammates did, and we didn't understand that it's like a little bit more of a quieter sport. And we were like screaming in the middle of like everything and getting loud, and they were like, "Hey, we don't do that." So
know your etiquette if you're going to tennis.
You know your etiquette, but go support. Let's fill up the Racket Center.
Yeah. Face paint and body paint, it's very, very cool to see your passion, but maybe not the same as compared to football with tennis.
Definitely not.
But if you do, hey, Kudos to you.
Yeah.
Going the whole 9 yards.
Love the school spirit.
Find out more at FerrisStateBulldogs.com. That's a wrap for us here. We'll see you next week here with a brand new episode, brand new guests, and hopefully some more banter along with maybe some information on Ferris State stuff.
We'll see. We'll see. Can't wait, though.
It's a week-by-week thing. You know, we might lose our minds, as we are right now. We will see you next time here on Behind the Bulldogs.
Bye.